Introduction to Borderline Personality Disorder, BPD, Symptoms and Main Characteristics. Borderline Personality Disorder, BPD, is a mental health condition that is often characterized by instability in emotions, relationships, self-image, and behavior. This disorder, though widely misunderstood, affects many individuals worldwide, and its symptoms can deeply impact every aspect of their lives. In this episode of the Borderline Personality Disorder, BPD, podcast, we'll explore the key symptoms and characteristics of BPD, offering a clearer picture of what it is like to live with this disorder and how it manifests. Emotional instability. One of the hallmark symptoms of borderline personality disorder is emotional instability, or what is sometimes referred to as emotional dysregulation. Individuals with BPD often experience intense emotions that can shift rapidly. A person with BPD might feel fine one moment, only to suddenly become overwhelmed by feelings of sadness, anger, or anxiety. These emotional swings are typically short-lived but can be overwhelming and difficult for both the individual and those around them to manage. This rapid emotional change is often triggered by external events, such as conflicts with loved ones, stress, or even minor misunderstandings. For people with BPD, these emotional reactions can feel out of proportion to the situation, leading to difficulty in regulating responses in social and personal contexts. Emotional instability can be distressing, leading individuals to feel misunderstood, isolated, and frequently overwhelmed. Fear of abandonment. Another central characteristic of BPD is an intense fear of abandonment. Individuals with BPD may go to great lengths to prevent being left alone, whether the threat of abandonment is real or perceived. This fear can stem from a deep-seated insecurity and instability in their sense of self and can result in clingy, overly dependent behaviors, or, conversely, distancing actions in order to preemptively reject others before they can be rejected. This fear of abandonment may also lead to extreme reactions when relationships show signs of strain, such as emotional outbursts, self-harm, or even suicidal gestures. Often, people with BPD have difficulty understanding the difference between real and perceived abandonment, which leads them to interpret even small signs of distance as a threat to their relationships. Unstable relationships. Individuals with BPD tend to experience intense and unstable relationships. This is often due to a pattern known as splitting, where individuals view others as either all good or all bad. At times, someone with BPD might idolize a person, seeing them as perfect or ideal, but the moment the individual feels hurt or abandoned, the perception shifts, and that person is devalued and seen as all bad. This cycle of idealization and devaluation leads to tumultuous relationships. A person with BPD may cling to someone one moment and lash out at them the next. This unstable relational dynamic can be particularly difficult for both the person with BPD and their loved ones, as these fluctuations can create a sense of unpredictability and emotional exhaustion. Distorted self-image. People with BPD often struggle with a distorted or unstable sense of self. They may feel uncertain about who they are, what they want in life, and how they relate to the world around them. This confusion about identity is a central feature of the disorder and can lead to feelings of emptiness, confusion, and a constant search for validation from others. This unstable self-image can lead to drastic shifts in behavior, preferences, and goals. For example, someone with BPD may frequently change careers, friends, or hobbies, unable to maintain a consistent sense of direction in their life. This lack of stability in self-identity can be distressing and contribute to feelings of worthlessness or inadequacy. Impulsive behaviors. Impulsivity is another key characteristic of borderline personality disorder. People with BPD often engage in risky or self-destructive behaviors as a way to cope with their emotional distress. These behaviors may include substance abuse, reckless driving, binge eating, excessive spending, or promiscuity. The impulsivity that accompanies BPD is often an attempt to feel better temporarily or to alleviate intense emotions. These behaviors can have long-term consequences, both personally and socially, and may be used as a form of self-soothing or as a means of managing pain. The need for instant gratification can make it difficult for individuals with BPD to regulate their emotions in a healthy way. Self-harm and suicidal behavior. Self-harm, including cutting, burning, or other forms of injury, is unfortunately common among individuals with BPD. People may engage in self-injurious behaviors as a way to cope with overwhelming emotional pain, to feel something when numb, or as a form of emotional release. Self-harm is often a desperate attempt to gain control over chaotic emotions or to express pain when they feel unable to communicate it otherwise. Suicidal thoughts and behaviors are also prevalent in BPD. Individuals with the disorder may have recurrent thoughts of suicide or make suicidal threats or gestures in response to emotional distress or relationship problems. This tendency is often linked to the intense fear of abandonment, emotional pain, and a sense of helplessness when faced with overwhelming feelings. Chronic feelings of emptiness. Many people with BPD report chronic feelings of emptiness or a sense of being numb. This emptiness is often described as an internal void that can be difficult to articulate. Individuals with BPD may struggle to find fulfillment or meaning in their lives, and they may engage in various activities or relationships to fill this gap, only to find that it remains. These feelings of emptiness can contribute to a sense of disconnection from others and from oneself. People with BPD may feel as though they are living in a fog or are detached from their emotions, which can further fuel their desire for validation from others. Intense and inappropriate anger. Difficulty controlling anger is another common symptom of BPD. Individuals with the disorder may experience intense bouts of anger that seem disproportionate to the situation. This anger can be directed at others or even at oneself. Often, the anger is a result of frustration over feeling misunderstood, abandoned, or invalidated. These emotional outbursts can contribute to interpersonal conflict, and individuals with BPD may find themselves in cycles of anger and regret. Learning how to manage and express anger in a healthier way is an important component of BPD treatment. Paranoia and dissociative symptoms. Some individuals with BPD may experience episodes of paranoia, especially under stress. These feelings may include the belief that others are plotting against them or that they are being judged unfairly. Additionally, dissociative symptoms, such as feeling detached from one's body or emotions, are common. These feelings of dissociation can be a coping mechanism in response to emotion overload or perceived threats. Conclusion. In this episode, we have discussed the main symptoms and characteristics of borderline personality disorder, BPD. While the experience of BPD can vary from person to person, the disorder's core features include emotional instability, fear of abandonment, difficulty maintaining relationships, impulsive behaviors, and a distorted sense of self. Understanding these symptoms is the first step in both diagnosis and treatment, as it helps to demystify the disorder and provide clarity for those affected. In future episodes, we'll delve deeper into the causes, diagnosis, and treatments for BPD, as well as explore coping strategies for managing the symptoms and improving quality of life. Stay tuned for more insightful discussions on BPD and its impact.